Hello everyone, welcome to Quick Eyes. I am Sachin Puri, and Zeiss have been evolving a lot in last 2 3 years and have been doing a lot of new stuff for the partners. I think for the first time they have done something so unique for the Indian market. So Zeiss is getting one of the most well-known Danish eyewear brand, which is known for its pure titanium frames, really minimalistic like Danish design, made in Japan, all made out of titanium and very unique color where every color talks about a story in itself. So the name of this brand is Ørgreen. Yes, now Ørgreen will be available in India through Zeiss. And if anyone of you wants to look and feel this collection, they can contact a Zeiss representative. So in this podcast, you will get to meet Matthias, who is the Vice President Sales for Ørgreen. He is here in India, and we got an opportunity to meet him, and he shares complete insights about how Ørgreen is made, how Japanese craftsmanship is different from anywhere in any part of the world, how titanium frames are made. The front of titanium is sagged with 20 titanium sheets and with a very thin, hair thin copper wire and a water stream. The whole titanium frames are cut. Temples of a titanium frame is not 100% titanium. This is something which I came to know for the first time. This is something you need to hear it out from him, what he says about the temple of any titanium frame in the There world. Are a lot of unique story about Ørgreen, and you will get to know all this in this podcast. So do hear it out and share it with your friends. And let's meet Matthias. Welcome to Quick Eyes. I'm Sachin, and today I have Matthias with me, who is the Vice President International Sales for Ørgreen. And we are really lucky to have you on our channel. You just landed in Bangalore yesterday?
Yes, it's a great pleasure meeting you as well. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes, I arrived late last night, or early morning, as we would say. So yeah, but really good to go. It's always great to be back in India.
Great. So you keep coming to India. Have you been here before?
It's the
before starting this.
This is my fourth time overall, and my third time this year alone. So yeah, it's been a few times. So.
Okay, great. Any part of other cities which you have visited except Bangalore?
Yes, it's been Delhi, Mumbai, Pune even. We've done a quick of a round trip there while the airport was closed in Mumbai doing some actions recently. But otherwise, yeah, and of course Bangalore. And I probably have to ask Vikas exactly for the place I've been moved around. But it's been so far a really great experience. Yeah.
So, Matthias, to start with, we keep it very simple. We would start with knowing more about you, since how long you have been with the brand, and also about the brand history, about the brand values of Ørgreen. And also, before that, what's the meaning of, because I always get confused, it's Ørgreen or on green, and why you have that name? Is it something related to greenery and all?
Actually, it's a very good question. The brand is called Ørgreen. That would be the original, as far as I understand from my Danish colleagues. I hope I didn't misspell it. It's actually the surname of the owner of the company. Because Ørgreen is actually a privately owned company based in Denmark. And Henrik Ørgreen is still together with Gregers Fastrup, who is the other owner, what we call family-owned business. And it carries the name of the founder. Ørgreen, of the founder. And so that's still for the last 27 years since the company has been founded. It's been the brand name. Yeah. But that doesn't mean, I think in these days every company needs to pay a lot of attention to being more carbon neutral, or basically more on the green orientated. So I think this today is a given rather than an extra. It should not be questioned. I think it should be more like and so even from our end, with our production or the facilities that we have, we're always trying to be as green, or let's say, look at the environment as much as possible.
Correct. So coming back to you, so since how long you're associated with this brand, and I think you come from an optical background only, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I have a few years under my belt, I would say. So I've been actually in the industry for 27 years now, in the optical industry. I started in the optical industry in '98 with Silhouette in the United Kingdom, where I was primarily looking after building the Adidas Eyewear brand at the time. After that, in 2010, they asked me to move to Hong Kong and build the same brand again for Silhouette in Asia Pacific. So anywhere from Hong Kong, of course, Japan, all the way to New Zealand and Australia. And so that was in between. And then in 2006, Maui Jim actually asked me to move to China and set up Maui Jim in the Chinese market when Maui Jim didn't exist there before.
Okay.
And as everybody knows, it was like COVID who came again, or not again, but 2019 and 2022, I decided to move back with my family to Europe. And that's when I started working for Ørgreen at the time. And so it's been just over 2 years now that I'm with the brand. And it's been so far a fantastic experience.
Great. So more about the brand. So how, because what I have seen on the website, I have not seen the models physically. What I've seen on the website, it looks like it's very thin titanium frames and all, if I'm not wrong. And plus the brand story is very different than what you compare with other brands coming up in the market. So how do you place Ørgreen versus other brands, and what are their ethos and all, if you can share more about that?
I wouldn't really compare us to other brands. I think we found a very unique positioning for us. Okay. So again, the brand already has been founded in 1997. So we've been on the market for quite a while. And our heritage is really, it's the Danish design. So we are a Danish design company, as we would call, which if you look a little bit around for what Danish design means, if you look at furniture and other things that originate from the area, it's always about being very clean and very functional. It has to work, let's say, but it's minimalistic at the same time. So it's in the detail. However, we have an additional detail that's very important to us, actually, that many years ago, like over 20 years ago, already the company decided to move all the manufacturing to Japan. Okay. So what we do is we combine the design from Denmark with the manufacturing excellence from Japan to deliver something very, very unique to our consumers from a quality perspective. So not just from design, but quality perspective. And lastly, also what is very important for us is the coloring. So colors play a very, very important part in our kind of the philosophy. So we don't just go for the natural colors. And when you look actually in detail of our product, we look into finding a personality for each frame that is represented in each and every color that is then kind of fused into the product itself.
Yeah, I see you play a lot with colors, and that's the story also, that you guys focus more on the color story instead of just the model.
It's correct. Yeah, I mean, coloring is like, as I said, it's like you can look at color just as something being basic, where you say, okay, we have model 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we just put color 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our element is very different, where we say, as I said, like each person has a certain personality. And with that personality, each frame that is designed has a certain personality in mind who it's designed for. And then we look actually what color could be the right coloring for that personality. And that's why our frames are very different in terms of coloring than probably what you find generally in the market. And that doesn't just go, of course, like what is in Europe. We also look regionally, kind of how does that best reflect, from a perspective of making you look better, or appreciate something having color.
So you have been to India almost 4 times. So now how you see the Indian market? I'm sure you must have visited many optical stores also in past 2 or 3, 4 visits. So how you see the Indian optical market and how Ørgreen fits into that market? And also if you can share, if you compare opticians in India with the rest of the world where you have traveled, how you compare them in terms of the way they do business, or the scope of improvement, if you see something, if something different, if you would have captured in your visit?
I would say what I learned, especially being away from Europe for a long time and not living there and being more maybe involved in faster growing markets, is not to have too much of an opinion, to be really honest. Because I think it's sometimes very difficult for us to fully understand the dynamics, that these markets actually have. So and that's why I really appreciate working with partners such as like with the great people here at Zeiss in India, who are actually helping educate us of what the market needs, rather than just coming us with, okay, this is the market and that's what's giving. But of course, there is some interesting kind of dynamics for me, kind of seeing the markets, what's happening. I see a lot of very keen individuals who are really driven of being part of making the optical business a success story, not just for themselves, but also for the wider population. So they want to be part, I think, of something that everybody, what we're witnessing is the opportunity that the Indian market represents.
Right.
But all these individuals really seem to have their own little individual way of how they want to be part of their journey.
Correct.
Again, rather than me coming here and having opinion, I think I rather also listen to the great colleagues that we're working with to tell us of where the market is going, what we need, how to best to adapt. And I think that's, I say God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth, so I rather listen than actually talk. So it's important for me to understand. Actually, every time I come here, I learn something more. New. So it's more about turning these learnings into a vision rather than actually just coming with a prefix vision, something where we kind of want to be. But what I would say though is, I think the Indian marketplace needs to be looked up in a very different way, not by what is going to happen in the next half year or year. This is very often how you approach other markets. You make a 2-year, 3-year plan. But I believe for India, you need to have a 5, 10 or 15-year vision of where you want to be. And then constantly adjust your way of doing things to make it happen. Yeah? If you already have a view too much, okay, we're going to do this, you may actually lose out on some opportunities happening on the side, such as the way also that this cooperation is kind of working.
Since we talk about now that cooperation, so I want to know that how the Zeiss and Ørgreen, I won't say joint venture, but more of a partnership happened, because this is something new for India, and I'm sure it would be new for Ørgreen also. So if you can tell me when it started, how it started, were you exploring something else also before joining hands with Zeiss, but then how you closed that working with Zeiss is the best way forward for India?
Again, a very nice question, and it turns into a nice story as well. And so the Zeiss partnership had a really interesting development. When I started looking for Ørgreen into international markets and specific growth markets, India, of course, came very high up on the list. So my primary goal was to try to understand the market better, to talk to people who can give me more guidance about what is necessary to build the market, or what would be the best steps. So through some international contacts that we have as a company, I tried to actually reach out and try to connect with someone who could give me that information. Yeah, just like, what's the market doing? How is it developing? Who could be potentially right partners and all of this? And out of these initial discussions actually came the idea, or the idea was born, maybe we should explore also working together. Yeah? That must say has also been alongside when we looked, of course, okay, who could be maybe a good distributor? Could we maybe even set up our own subsidiary, for example, for India? But ultimately, again, our talks went so nicely that we felt, okay, maybe this, and both parties were very keen in kind of exploring this kind of opportunity, that we came up with the thought of creating the strategic partnership for the Indian market and join together.
Okay, great, interesting. So have you done similar thing anywhere else in any other part of the world?
No, this actually is the first time, and probably that's also a reason why it took a bit of time to kind of get to the stage, because these strategic partnerships, as we call it, they don't just come overnight. It's not just as easy like kind of, here's a contract, okay, you sell the product. So there goes a lot more into it. We also wanted to make sure, of course, that not just the team, but everybody understands that the differences between our product, let's say, how to sell the product, what makes our product different, what is the benefit for the consumer, what is the benefit for the customer to have our product. So rather than just adding another brand to portfolio, it's something here where we're also looking, of course, to partner up with Zeiss about their premium lens side. And how can a premium brand like ours, with a very high quality demand, fit into the Zeiss world, where their high-end lenses also find a home. So together we're trying to bring this kind of to the consumer as a concept. So it's not just the frame to the consumer, it's the frame-lens combination that we're actually trying to promote here.
Interesting. It would be a very good value proposition even for the opticians here in India.
I believe so, because I think if and this is not something I think specific to India. In the world today, service becomes a very important part. Companies are going all sorts of directions, getting bought out and things, and very often it's the service that becomes the first part of being cut out, which leaves very often the optician being the first kind of troubleshooter when the consumer has an experience, right? And very often that reflects negatively on the optician, even if it wasn't even their fault, right? So again, we already kind of put a high attention on our frames by making them in Japan, that we have a very high quality expectations on the outset. But on a secondary level, we want to ensure that the consumer experience and the customer experience is at the top level by teaming up with Zeiss and ensuring that the service they are used to have from the Zeiss level on lenses is hereby also provided actually on the quality side and the service side. So that goes all the way. On top of it, there's something I think very unique about Ørgreen is that we actually have all the frames in stock in our warehouse in Copenhagen. So we manufacture in Japan. We have continuous production. We get deliveries about twice a week. So we kind of continue to have that. So when I talk about partnership, it's one is the service, of course, like to the consumer, but on the second side also to the customer, that when he kind of decides to stock a brand like Ørgreen through Zeiss, he gets to know what is really the best-selling product for him, even releasing new ones. And it's easy for him to kind of stock up on the product, and we're working right now on a target of around 15 to 20 days of having the product available in the market from ordering. So it's actually, the customer can use us as their warehouse rather than actually having to stock up and at the end of the year being still having to have a lot of product that he may actually not even need. So over the course of not just half a year or a year, hopefully there's a momentum basically there that you realize, okay, the potential and the value of working with Ørgreen and Zeiss together is a much higher one, because the inventory is kind of a much lesser level than you need to kind of work with other brands. Yeah, and it's locked up capital, right? That can be used for marketing, other things. So we strongly believe in this concept. For us, actually, is one of the biggest tools globally. So to give you some more information maybe about here, that we deliver in Europe, for example, within 24 hours. If the customer has a need or needs something, 24 hours. We have our own subsidiary in the US, so United States, where the East Coast also gets a delivery within 24 hours, and on the West Coast, actually, it's 48 hours. So we try to kind of keep this element kind of as fast as possible. And our ultimate goal also for India, of course, is to accelerate that even more, right? So the 15 days at the moment is kind of, it takes to kind of get from our headquarters to here, but eventually, hopefully, once we know what stock is actually really needed in India, we may also build up some stock locally to be even faster. And again, it's a partnership with the customer that's important to us. So it's and that I think was also one of the key driving decision for us to go into this partnership.
No, interesting, great. So since you have such good turnaround time and also, I would be really interested to know that how many countries are you present in right now across the globe?
It's over 50 countries that we're right now. So we have a pretty wide footprint. Again, like I explained, so we're probably very dominating in the European, Central European market and Northern markets, of course. But we have our own headquarters in US that also services Canada and the United States itself. And over the last couple of years, we expanded strongly in the Asian marketplace as well. So there's a global footprint for our brand. Yes. From a price positioning, I don't want to kind of mention specific price because it's globally more like where we fit into. So if you have brands that say like Lindbergh who are positioned here, and you have Silhouette here, we are kind of like with our pure titanium brands, and that's titanium like somewhere in the middle. Whilst we also have more attractive price points a little bit below. So it's more from a sense we are kind of in this kind of world of pricing.
Okay, interesting. So we talk a lot about titanium and all. Is this all made in Japan, if I'm not wrong, or there's something which is coming from somewhere else also?
So right now, I mean, this is kind of starts actually quite nicely here. So this actually is pure titanium.
Okay.
And that is from Japan. So we actually use pure titanium from Japan as a kind of raw product. And we're actually one of the few brands that actually still uses pure titanium also for the fronts of our frame rather than just beta titanium. So there's a lot of kind of nice experiences that come with it in terms of the durability as well as the feel for the frame. Things that you cannot do with stainless steel, specifically in weight. Because of course titanium is much stronger, but at the same time much lighter than stainless steel. So you can do things, again, like I just said, you cannot do with stainless steel production. So our titanium collection is our titanium and the acetate collection is exclusively made in Japan.
Okay.
We have one collection that is also kind of a combination of 3D.
Okay.
It's a laser centric kind of like production, but we also use Japanese actually beta titanium for the temples. So it is partly Japanese, partly actually European, but that's also because the manufacturing for this specific product, the technical leaders are in Europe at the moment and not there. They're not in Japan. But it's all then put together actually in Copenhagen in our office, where basically Japan meets the European kind of front part. But that's just the exception at the moment. Otherwise, it's really all about Japan as a kind of our key location for our production.
Since we talked about 3D also, just a small detail I really would love to know, that how is that specific market growing globally? Because if you ask me personally, even as a consumer, I wear a 3D or I wear this one, it is just the design which I look for and the brand and the material and all. If it is 3D or a normal frame, it doesn't matter to me as a consumer. So how you feel that 3D market is growing globally?
I think it's a technology kind of development. I think if you look maybe 10 years back and when the first 3D frames have been launched, I think a lot of people, unfortunately, probably didn't have such a good experience.
Right.
So the material was too brittle, it was too UV kind of sensitive and all that. But and people still have maybe in their mind when they think about 3D, they have the classic 3D printing where you have like, they think the kid in the bedroom now could just make a frame, right? I think the technology that used in frames today, and specifically also at Ørgreen, is a very different one.
Okay.
We're talking here about laser-centric kind of production, for example, where it's the laser that can work in millimeters kind of like margins to produce a front or a frame, let's say. And so in terms of quality and durability and the feel, it's kind of millions of far distance away from what people experience. So I think you need to almost like hold and get a feel for a 3D produced frame today than it was before to really see what the options are. The nice thing is actually the material is very lightweight, extremely lightweight. So especially in countries that are very hot, let's talk India probably being one of them, that makes a big difference when you have a frame actually very lightweight. So the comfortability is kind of a nice one. Also, when you have higher prescriptions, like the lens frame doesn't kind of add to the weight of the frame necessarily. So there is big advantages kind of to it. The durability is another aspect. That the durability of 3D today is so good that I would say it's almost impossible to destroy, kind of on these frames. So when we start looking at the kids market or for people probably a little bit more active, that's a nice kind of alternative. And it's just a different kind of look and feel that's add to it. And you can do things with 3D today that you can actually not do with acetate or other materials. So I think there's a huge development, and we're still probably just in the beginning of where this technology is going to go in the future. So I think it's this is something that you cannot discount going in the future. It's actually probably going to grow. So for us, it's been in some markets, so specifically when we go more to the East Asian markets, it's now got about 50% market share for us already in that sector. So
in the 3D space?
So 3D versus our classic, like say titanium. So it's actually been a big growth part of our business in this region.
I don't think that much of contribution in business for 3D as a category would be coming up for any other brand. If I know. I don't think, because I personally used to think 3D is more of a techie, like if you are from an IT background, you would like to wear it and showcase, see, I'm wearing 3D. But for a normal consumer, it doesn't matter. It's a 3D or acetate or a metal, unless and until he loves that frame.
I think it's the what people sometimes have in mind. A lot of people have in mind when they look at 3D, okay, this must be something that people do in the bedroom is cheap, right? So I think it's we need maybe our customers to take our consumers on the journey as well, to explain them what is the difference between a 3D product like maybe 10 years ago and what's today, and what are the advantages of it, how to wear it. And so for us, I think that big growth in those markets, that people really go like, oh wow, this feels good, this is nice. So this is the main driver, I think, the reason why we are quite successful in this field, because we just do great product. And people, once they hold their hands, realize, oh, actually it makes a difference.
Okay. So will you be launching a 3D collection also for India?
It's also available here.
Just,
Yeah, exactly. So we actually have quite a few collections. We have our pure titanium collection, as I mentioned, like, which is made of pure titanium, and it's actually one of the few brands that still do that. Then we have a beta titanium collection, something that kind of I'm wearing here, also like available with a 3D inlay, so kind of combination of titanium, beta titanium, and 3D. We have an acetate collection as well. We have an acetate collection in combination with titanium, and we also have the 3D collection, as I mentioned before, which is called Quantum for Ørgreen.
So Matthias, I'm seeing this tray here from last about half an hour, and you mentioned that I will tell about this at the end. So I didn't ask much, but I feel like it's like you are doing some kind of a chemical experiment and all with all these stones, then interesting
Yes.
small bottles, granules and all. I don't know what all it is.
Good.
Really nice stuff. This is for the first time I'm seeing such a kind of a display. It looks more of a, you are designing glasses for some Marvel movie and all. So if you can just explain me what exactly it is, what all these plates are for, what all is there in the small bottles.
Okay, this is a specific tray that was designed to actually help our customers and teams in the market to understand better how actually frames are made, especially on the premium side, because majority of people in the stores have no idea, right? They've probably not been involved. And when you're designing and making a premium frame and you're demanding a certain price point, you also we want to give some tools for our customers to educate the consumer about what makes this frame different, right? What makes it special, and that's very important for us. So the starting point would be here. This is our titanium kind of a collection showcase, which starts with showing actually rocks of pure titanium. And I'm pretty sure that probably like you or many other people, like especially in the stores, never felt what is titanium, what does it mean? So pure titanium is one of the lightest and most durable metals that exist in the world. That's why, and it's also hypoallergenic. So that's another aspect, of course, when you're wearing something 24/7, right? That it's important for you. What does it mean for the consumer? It's extremely lightweight, extremely like kind of resilient, but that's also a reason why it's used, let's say, in the aircraft industry. So when you look at a lot of kind of moving parts, especially in the engine, they would be made of titanium because they are just so strong and so light. There's no other material. But then there's also big differences of titanium, where it comes from, where it's sourced. So a lot of people say, oh yeah, but I have titanium here, from here and there. So as a side note, when you start with pure titanium, and that's still a material that we work with a purity of over 99%. Or something. That's very unique.
So it's like 99% titanium.
It's 99%. It's almost like it's the highest grade you basically can achieve, and that reflects. And this is like this is for the kind of like showing what one of our collection, which is called the sheet titanium collection. We still use pure titanium, and it just shows even like here with a lot of strength. It's almost, and I put this quickly back here just to kind of, it's almost impossible to bend. And that's basically the physical base for pure titanium. This here, for example, is beta titanium. This has additives to it, so it gets anywhere between 70 and 80% pure. And these additives are made to make it more bendable, more flexible. And that is because if I would make, for example, a temple out of pure titanium, it would be so tough you could not wear it. So we're trying to make a combination of using pure titanium for the front, as well as a combination of flexible beta titanium, like say, for the sides. And the way how this is done, for example, is like we have in our production process, if you maybe give this back to me quickly, thank you. We stack 25 of these sheets on top of each other, 25. Not just one or two, but 25 of those, and actually 6 deep. And then there's a little kind of thread, just like this, tiny one, which gets put through these pilot holes in between here. And this actually cuts out.
This thread cuts out this?
This can cut through 25 deep of these kind of sheets. And what it does, it's very accurate. It's very kind of detailed. So of course there's laser and there's water cutting and all of kind of different things. But this process is very, very unique and very accurate.
But then this wire would be very strong because it's quite
It's
surprising.
a copper wire, but there's some low electricity also kind of running through it, and it's of course so there's special machines in Japan. They've been doing this for a long time.
Okay.
It's actually it's made in Sabe in Japan, which has been Sabe, which has been very famous for centuries for making knives. Already, so knife making, everything. So that's why basically Heritage, they really know what to do with these kind of metals.
Okay.
And so this is the starting of the production for them. So this here, when I'm showing this is where an Ørgreen sheet titanium frame would start with. It's the pure one. And if you feel actually the edges are still very, very rough, right, and everything, it's very tough. So then starts the polishing process, kind of where we use different kind of materials to kind of do polishing and making it more round, more. So you lose kind of the edges and other things, plus adding, of course, the different kind of nose areas and everything kind of to it, until kind of the production kind of progresses also to coloring others. One aspect that is really important for us, though, is that we have, when it comes to handmade, is that we put a lot of attention to polishing. Because our trademark is actually not to have a logo. That's very specific. Yes. But our trademark, when you touch this, it's impossible to feel that there is a gap. And that is done by a polishing master in Japan. He needs to learn this skill for about 3 to 5 years, because a little bit too much pressure and there would be kind of a hole in it. Not enough pressure and you would not have that kind of really kind of a nice feel. So whereby a lot of other brands, let's say, would put the logo there, we actually decide not to. We really want to show the craftsmanship that we put through our efforts kind of doing this in Japan. When we go through the production process also, and it continues, we actually would put a number here, a number here, a number here, and a number here on the temple. So even if the frame goes through different production process throughout, we at the end would look for where is the counterpart for it and then put it together. Now you would think, what does that mean to me, or kind of as a consumer or as a customer? It's like our frames are so unique when they get born that we always will try to keep them intact. So that's why we really kind of we want to ensure that the smooth and stability kind of continues throughout the experience. And we very often would not just replace, let's say, a temple. We would actually sometimes replace the whole frame to really kind of make sure it's kind of the entirety kind of stays together.
Okay.
The way how the two color tone, for example, is done, this maybe be very interesting quickly. It's like you first here would, it's all hand sprayed. So you would spray this color first all over. Once it's done, there's actually a person that would kind of put sellotape on top of it of the areas that you don't want to be colored in a different colorway. And then, and this is sellotape that actually goes, here, very specific. Then they would spray it again, then it would be cleaned up, and this is how you actually get the two color kind of like combination, like in a frame like this.
It would take a lot of time putting tape, and then...
It takes a long time. So as a quick run through like the collection, I just explained on the tray that we did, titanium tray, about pure titanium. So here you can see the pure titanium really in action, kind of the front, which is really strong. Plus, if you now feel like kind of the temples, it's very flexible. It's very strong, exactly. And if you look at the color kind of finish, it's very kind of detailed and the flexibility. But you have the flexibility of the temples, of course, right? But what you feel is very lightweight. So for a what do you call it? A stainless steel product, the same width and everything, you probably think about 30% more weight on average, kind of than titanium.
Nice. Here also it's same thing. This is lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really our trademark, kind of, or one of kind of where we kind of really like to point that out. And of course we have both male and female. Here we have something that's kind of with electroplating, so we have bring a little bit of gold into kind of the collection as well. So the front, of course, is one color plus a side gold kind of on the feel on the side. Then the next range of titanium we have is the imaginary lines. So it's this is all beta titanium rather than kind of a pure titanium. But what you can do, of course, you can make it much thinner. So I've been wearing one of this
looks
whole
better
thing. Yeah. Okay, I get that for my next collection. Thank you very much. Yeah.
This is nice.
So it's it's when we call imaginary lines, it's really meant because you can just about see, right,
it's
kind of
very,
the
yeah,
edge.
that's what it is.
So it's very
Very
minimalistic,
thin,
exactly.
very thin.
So that's our imaginary lines, which so far I believe in the coming to India has been like had one of the biggest uptakes in the collection. And then together with this, we have male and female, of course. Here, for example, is a female kind of like shape.
Okay.
And you can see as soon as we have a female shape, we're also looking to add some colors maybe that may be more relevant, to a female kind of person,
yeah,
like here with a slight red. Even red is a very, very difficult color, I've been told. So it's a, but yeah, so little bit of touch of color kind of comes to it.
Nice.
Then the next step is something similar to what I've been wearing. So it's again, the imaginary lines are very thin, but we add like a little bit of a 3D inlay here.
Okay.
Just to add a little bit of color, a little bit of tint. And you see that basically also kind of on the frame that I've been wearing with a nice Zeiss lens there. You see a little bit of the blue
Yeah, I was
like at the top.
was
So
really nice.
just to add something that, I like to wear blue.
Okay,
So
blues.
this was recommended to kind of like, and I really like it as a kind of like little complimentary there. But when you look very closely on the side, you see the edges are a little bit higher. And what really comes up is that, okay, for somebody who has like high myopia or something, or the other way around, like, so you can actually wear like a base 2 high index lens easily kind of in this frame, because the thickness of the lens would disappear. Then we have our what we call quantum, which is like the combination of 3D and titanium from Japan. And again, you just talked about lightweight. So I invite you to just put this on your face, and you really feel now, how thin that frame is and how comfortable it is to wear. So in terms of comfortability, there's almost like nothing kind of that gets even close kind of in that kind of concept. Crucial point here is that actually one part of frames that have screws is that after a while, most of them tend to wear out a little bit and we need a screwdriver just to fix it again. Our 3D kind of frames here, or the quantum collection, is designed in a way, even if you would do this 10,000 times, and we tested that, this would never wear out. That effect of the hinge locking in, because of the material composition of how it works and some technical details that are included in the kind of hinge, this is very unique. I'm not the expert, like say from a production perspective, but from what I've seen so far is that when you have these Japanese masters who are really dedicated, and they don't tend to do one job today and another job tomorrow. They really are the masters of doing one thing and making that perfect. So my assumption here would be it's just the perfectionist of that paint master in Japan who achieves that sort of color continuity across kind of like the collection. Then next I would like to introduce the acetate cut. We have high density acetate from Japan. High density means we actually can be thinner in terms of the acetate and also lighter. So especially as acetate frames sometimes tend to be a little bit heavier. So we have a front that is from acetate from Japan. We have also titanium from Japan, but there's a very crucial element here in the hinge. The hinge is actually from a company in Germany called OBE. It's a small company in Germany who are the absolute specialists when it comes to making hinges, and this is the only flex hinge currently that we do. But then we say like it's not just any flex hinge. Like so, when we try to do perfection, whether we look for the best production sourcing or other areas, we always look for the very best, so that when the product comes to the consumer, ultimately there's less chance of any kind of like risk. So this is the hinge that comes from Germany and then kind of fused into this Japanese titanium kind of temple with also the high density acetate from Japan. And crucially also when you feel, the feel has got the same feel, right? It's got like really no edge or something. It goes throughout kind of our collection.
I see every model have a same feel. That's something which is very unique and different to maintain this thing. And even while you wear it, it's not like you need to do like this to remove it. It's
correct.
Like this.
It's fluid. Yes. And again, like details like, okay, the hinge comes from OBE in Germany, yeah, and it's not just kind of any hinge that you kind of can just purchase around the corner. It's like an addition that we hope that the customer, when he talks to the consumer about why he should choose a premium product to kind of buy, why does it make sense, is because there are elements in this product that makes it last longer, work longer, and keep its originality. So it's a big difference. Again, it's like cars, right? You can have something here or there. There's differences to every detail that goes, the work that goes into it. And then lastly, also kind of our acetate collection, which is pure acetate, again from Japan. First of all, just touch the hinges, you will get the feel, like the attention to detail is there.
Really nice. It's thick, but it looks very nice. It's very light, and this 3D kind of a design which has been given here, it looks really nice.
It's a very kind of specific finishing, yes. And it's a triple hinge in terms of the screws, right? So it's really making sure we have like the best screws possible for this sort of frame and hinges.
Really nice.
And then even on this one, I can show like all our frames in acetate, the pure ones, they also have a little attention again to color. So you see basically the end here is a different color than the front. That is not something you can do kind of just from a machine. Actually, what happens here, the temple comes out in this color, and then there's another acetate block kind of with this color. Then somebody goes here, they cut this apart, and then they take the other color and fuse it together to make this happen. So again, it's an underscoring again that our product is a handmade product rather than just a kind of mass product anyway. So it's the attention to detail to that level. You see that here actually this is done in the middle, so when I wear this you can really see the different color kind of in the midst of it compared to the rest. So this is really kind of again the attention to detail. How can we make a frame more beautiful by adding something that is special and you don't find generally like kind of out in the market.
I'm sure audience is very keen to know what price you would be doing it. This is your glasses, you left it.
Oh, good, yeah, they're not for sale anymore. Yeah. So I already won them. I would say contact your Zeiss partner and talk to them, and they give you really deep dive, not like maybe even deeper introduction into the collection, as well as like where the price positioning is everything. Because we also, of course, have in that partnership, we designed something in where like, if you combine an Ørgreen frame and a Zeiss lens, there's again a special kind of, we'll say, opportunity, because that's something we designed together. So I think you need to look at Ørgreen, not just as Ørgreen as a frame and the pricing, but as a whole kind of package together, you know, that Zeiss and Ørgreen developed together. So that's the reason why I really strongly invite the customers to meet our sales team, both from Zeiss and Ørgreen, to get more information about how this kind of fusion together is the best value, probably not just for the consumer from a service perspective, but also for them as a customer, like from a value perspective. And they will see it's very attractive.
Yeah, of course, the frame looks very attractive, no doubt. I would say every optician should at least feel it what it is, because you feel very different once you wear it.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nice. So thanks Matthias.
It's been a great pleasure.
Same here.
Absolutely.
I'm really happy to see this kit and see how frames are made. I never thought that this wire can cut such a hard metal.
So I hope you like this podcast. You like some great insights shared by Matthias. And now if you want to check out this complete collection and also want to see that kit, which I felt it was amazing, I'm sure you must not have seen a raw titanium. So you also get to see how a raw titanium looks like. So if you want to see all that, so just get in touch with your nearest representative from Zeiss and he will help you out in organizing everything. So do like, share and subscribe, and share it with your friends also. Thank you.